The Apple iPhone 14 has now been finalized, and I'll be sharing the details right after this. Today we've got plenty of Apple news to share, including the finalized iPhone 14. Before we get started though, like the video if you're a fan of Apple, let me know in the comments who is waiting for the iPhone 14, and if you haven't already then hit subscribe now so you don't miss a thing in the future. So the first story of the day is that the upcoming foldable iPhone may actually be delayed, and this is in favour of a foldable MacBook. Reliable analyst Ross Young has stated in his latest report that the foldable iPhone has been pushed back until 2025, despite many predictions of it arriving in 2023 or 24. Apple is exploring the possibility of a foldable MacBook with a 20-inch display, and this is going to form a new product category. It's going to work as a notebook with a full-size keyboard on the screen when it's in folded mode, but then when you unfold it, it's a full-size monitor and you'd use this with an external keyboard. Now this is still early days, and although it has pushed the foldable iPhone back, the foldable MacBook is not coming anytime soon, and it's expected to arrive later than 2025. Now for those of you excited about AR and VR, we've got news from DigiTimes that the AR headset from Apple is going to enter mass production in August, and that it could hit the market by the end of the year. Now DigiTimes say a lot and it doesn't always come true, whereas Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has advised that there are development issues already and it's likely going to prevent a launch this year. Now Mark Gurman says that a 2023 release is much more likely. Now on to the iPhone 14. So first up, we've got news of better battery life thanks to a new and improved 5G chip. TSMC have obtained Apple's orders for its 5G chipset, and this is of course for the iPhone 14 lineup, and they're using 6nm chipsets for a physically smaller chip that also produces less power. Many do complain of 5G battery drain, so this is great news for the consumer, and it also brings support for Wi-Fi 6E. Apple is also in talks with other suppliers to deliver its first in-house 5G modem, and this is expected to make its debut in the 2023 iPhone. Now next up, we've got news that Apple have finalized the design of the iPhone 14 Pro, so after seeing all of these different designs and concepts, we now know what the iPhone is going to look like. According to a new report, Apple's largest supplier Foxconn have begun trial production for the iPhone 14 Pro, and it's already into the early stages of manufacturing. Now this means that no further changes are likely to be made. Foxconn are going to be manufacturing the iPhone 14 Pro and the iPhone 14 Pro Max, whereas Luxshare are going to be taking the two lower end models. Now when it comes to the Pro models, it seems that we have in fact lost the notch. There's going to be no notch on the display, and we instead get a single punch hole camera alongside a pill-shaped cutout. Now while many still dislike this look, I think it's one of those that will grow on you with time. When it comes to the iPhone, it is unfortunately required. We need a punch hole cutout for the selfie camera, and we need the pill-shaped cutout for the sensors, including the Face ID sensor that's become an important part of iOS. It seems that the budget-friendly iPhones being manufactured by Luxshare are a little behind in terms of schedule, but we expect the iPhone 14 and the new iPhone 14 Max to still retain the notch, making it the biggest design differences between Pro and non-Pro models that we've ever seen. Now of course, all four models of the iPhone 14 are going to be incredible, and they'll come with many hardware improvements over their predecessors, and for those excited, we're now going to run through the full specs, design and the expected pricing of the whole iPhone 14 range. For my regular viewers, you guys have seen this, so just skip to the next video, but if you are new here, then hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. To start with, the new entry-level model is going to be the iPhone 14. With the iPhone 14, we get a 6.1-inch Super Retina OLED display. It's expected to be a 90Hz display with an 1170 by 2532 resolution, and this gives us 460 pixels per inch. On the front, we'll be getting a 12-megapixel selfie camera, but unlike the Pro models, we will have a notch instead of a punch-hole camera. On the rear, it's expected that they're going to stick with a dual camera setup, but it may be the first time we get a LiDAR scanner on the lower end models. The dual camera setup is going to consist of a wide angle and an ultra wide camera, and the phone is going to be powered by the new A16 Bionic, which is going to be a 4nm chipset that's both more powerful and efficient than the A15. It's going to be coming with 6GB of RAM RAM and a choice of 128, 256 or 512 storage. The phone's going to be powered by a 3240 mAh battery with improved fast charging, likely to be something like 25 watts. It's expected to support both wireless and reverse wireless charging, and it's also expected to come with 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2 and ultra-wideband support. It will of course ship with the new iOS 16. When it comes to pricing, Apple have been keeping things relatively the same lately, so we're expecting the base model to start from $799. Now next up, we've got the iPhone 14 Pro. With the iPhone 14 Pro, we get a 6.1-inch ProMotion OLED display. It's a 120Hz LTPO display with a resolution of 1170 by 2532, which gives us 440 pixels per inch. On the front, we get another 12-megapixel wide-angle camera with Face ID sensors embedded in the display. On the rear, we get a triple camera setup consisting of a 48-megapixel wide-angle as the primary, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide and a 12-megapixel telephoto, and of course we get the additional LiDAR scanner. The phone is going to be powered by the A16 Bionic, and it's expected that it's going to come with a choice of 8GB of RAM, 128, 256, 512 and 1TB of storage. The phone's going to be powered by a 3240 mAh battery with improved fast charging, likely to be 25 watts. It's expected to support both wireless and reverse wireless charging, and it's also expected to come with 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2 and ultra-wideband support. It's going to ship with iOS 16, and the base model of the iPhone 14 Pro is expected to launch from $999. Now next up, we've got the new edition, which is the iPhone 14 Max. The iPhone 14 Max is expected to come with a 6.7-inch Super Retina OLED display. It's expected to be a 90Hz display with a resolution of 1284 by 2778. On the front, we get a 12-megapixel selfie camera, and on this model we also have a notch. And then on the rear, we get a 12-megapixel wide angle as the primary, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide and the LiDAR scanner. The phone's going to be powered by the new A16 Bionic, and it should be coming with 6GB of RAM and a choice of 128, 256 or 512 storage. The iPhone 14 Max is going to be powered by a 4352 mAh battery, again with fast charging likely to be 25 watts. It's expected to support both wireless and reverse wireless charging, and it's also going to come with 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2 and ultra-wideband support. Of course, it's going to be shipping with iOS 16. When it comes to pricing, we expect the iPhone 14 Max to start from $899. Now finally, we've got the top-end model, the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is coming with a 6.7-inch ProMotion OLED display. We're expecting a 120Hz LTPO display with a resolution of 1284 by 2778, giving us 458 pixels per inch. On the front, we get a 12-megapixel punch-hole selfie camera with Face ID under the display, and then on the rear, it's the triple camera setup and a LiDAR scanner. The triple camera consists of a 48-megapixel wide angle, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide and a 12-megapixel telephoto. The phone's going to be powered by the A16 Bionic, and it's expected that it's going to come with a choice of 8GB of RAM, 128, 256, 512 or 1TB storage. The phone's going to be powered by a 4352 mAh battery with improved fast charging, likely to be 25 watts, and again it's likely to support both wireless and reverse wireless charging. It's expected to come with 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2 and ultra-wideband support, and it will of course ship with iOS 16. The base model of the iPhone 14 Pro Max is expected to launch from $1,099, and of course the higher storage options will cost more. So overall, the iPhone 14 is looking incredible, and it's great to finally see some drastic design changes. In terms of the hardware, they've already got a good setup going, so focusing on design is a good move. Of course, the iPhone 14 series is going to be launching in September 22, and as more and more leaks come in, I'll continue to share them as they do. As always though, I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments, so who's excited for the Apple iPhone 14, and what do you think about the punch hole in the pill-shaped cutout? But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.